After an encounter with her superior, a career-driven woman battles with her conflicting emotions by fixating on a flower and a mysterious tree creature that haunts her. At her new job, Hera speaks to her sister on the phone. Overhearing them, her coworker asks if she and her sister are single, to which Hera says yes. Without explaining further, he shares that he has siblings too before turning away. At lunch, Vicky and Claire join Hera, wondering about her weekend plans. So the woman shares that she's going on a date. The other two assume she's going out with their superior Zach, so they begin teasing the shy woman. Later, the office celebrates as Zach announces that they just got a $10 million account. The man subtly winks at Hera, who becomes flustered. The following night, Zach walks Hera home after their date. He tries to invite himself in, noting that he even bought her a potted flower as a gift. The woman refuses, adding that she could have bought the plant herself. This prompts the man to hint at her financial situation while offering to help her. Feeling awkward, Hera insists on just going to bed, so Zach accuses her of leading him on. She clarifies that she likes him but doesn't want things to escalate now. Zach asserts her that he can give her everything if they have some fun tonight, continuously advancing on the woman despite her refusal. The man then opens the door for her and pushes her in while Hera whimpers. After he takes advantage of her, Zach abruptly leaves. Horrified, the woman takes a shower with her dress still on, washing off the shame she feels for being used. The next morning, Hera sets the flowers he gave her on the kitchen counter, where she also finds his jacket. Seeing this, she leaves a voicemail for Zach, asking him to call her back to talk about last night. Unsure of what else to say, she mentions the jacket and adds that she likes the flowers. As the confused woman touches the flowers, their pollen gets all over her fingers. She later spends the day studying at home, though she gets startled when something echoes from the nearby forest. At night, the woman struggles to sleep, so she grabs a glass of water while talking to the flowers. Suddenly, she hears the noise outside again, and when she looks out, she finds a man's silhouette. Scared, she switches the lights on, only to find the figure gone. Just then, Zach calls her despite the late hour. He suggests coming over now to fetch his jacket, but he wants Hera to wear it and nothing else when she greets him. Nervous, she lies that she doesn't have the jacket, so Zach becomes uninterested and drops the call. The following day, Hera oddly seems excited as she chooses what to wear at work to impress Zach. However, when she arrives with a flower pot, Zach just passively greets her. Still, she gets excited when he mentions that he left something on her desk, only to discover that it's just a box of morning after pills. Before she can react, her team leader Lori scolds her for coming in after her, even though she's not technically late. She then notices her flower pot and outfit, telling Hera that she doesn't have to dress up since she doesn't meet with clients. After Lori leaves, Zach approaches Hera, seemingly friendlier than earlier. He compliments her before admitting that he gave her the medication because he took his protection off during their night. The dumbfounded woman brushes this off and invites him to lunch to discuss things, but he quietly suggests she pleasure him during lunch instead. Shocked, Hera clarifies that she wants to discuss what happened between them. Just then, their VP passes by, so Zach discreetly accuses the woman of being unprofessional by talking about such things in the office before leaving. With no choice, the confused woman goes to the restroom, where she drinks the medicine. Afterward, she stares blankly at nothing, trying to make sense of what's happening. Someone enters the restroom, interrupting her thoughts. Vicky overhears her sniffling, so she checks on Hera thinking that she's taking stimulants. When the woman realizes that Hera is crying, she advises her not to cry at work since their coworkers would see her weakness and use it against her. As soon as the woman leaves, the lights start to flicker, so Hera shuts her cubicle close. She then finds a figure covered in tree leaves and branches. Frightened, she closes her eyes, and fortunately, things return to normal. When Hera checks outside, however, the cubicle door is covered in pollen. Later, she meets with her boss Gabe for her 90-day evaluation. He assures her that she's doing great given that it's her first job. Their conversation leads to coffee making, which weirds out Hera until her boss uses this to test how she can forecast expenses for their clients. This makes the newbie nervous since she couldn't answer his question, but Gabe assures her that he knows that she's capable. With that, he declares that she passed her probationary period, thus Hera will officially be working with them full-time. That evening, Hera's sister Demi and her daughter Corey visit her. When Hera serves them frozen lasagnas, her sister judges her for not balancing her time enough to actually cook. The woman asserts that she works in a competitive field, so she needs to keep advancing, otherwise she'll be stuck. Demi dismisses this and offers to show her sister their mother's recipes. Uninterested, the woman turns her attention to her niece instead. Corey shares that a boy pulled her pigtails at school, and Hera claims that it means he likes her. This angers Demi, who points out that her ex-husband used to pull her daughter's hair as well. To divert the topic, Hera checks Corey's drawing, though she gets nervous when she sees a stick figure with flowers on its face. Corey explains that it's a plant pod for her aunt, like the one for their recently deceased teacher, Miss Devon. Their new teacher told them that Miss Devon's body was placed in a bag so she could turn into flowers. Hera questions why she drew one for her, and the girl simply explains that flowers grow. Afterward, Demi prepares for her date before leaving her daughter with Hera. Later that night, Hera wakes up and finds her niece gone. She searches around and discovers her standing outside with plants covering her face. Fortunately, the woman wakes up from this nightmare just as Demi returns. The woman is smitten, admitting that she got some action tonight. Surprised, Hera asks if she wanted that, so Demi says yes. Recalling her own date, Hera starts telling her what happened with Zach. Her bottled-up emotion bursts out, crying as her date won't talk to her anymore. Demi comforts her sister but notices that Corey is still not around. They find her in the closet, where the girl claims that she saw a tree man. This scares Hera, but Demi just hurries away with her daughter. After they leave, Hera finds a wilted flower on the floor. The following day, Hera goes to work in simpler clothes, which Zach and Vicky make fun of. She takes this in silence and goes to her desk, though the mischievous Vicky throws a ball of paper at her. Again, Hera tries to ignore them. The woman focuses on her tasks, but when Zach catches her eye, she follows him, still hoping to discuss what happened. He continues ignoring her until he leads her into an ongoing meeting where he prompts her to ask her question in front of their superiors. Embarrassed, Hera makes something up and ends up looking like a fool to the men. She waits by the stairs in shame until Zach finally comes out. He claims that what happened in the meeting was just a joke, but Hera asserts that it wasn't like one. Still, the man comments on women taking jobs without ambition, implying that Hera should just be a teacher, nurse, or stay-at-home mother. Hera asserts that she wants this job, so Zach tells her she isn't good enough. Realizing what he's implying, Hera hints at doing what he asked her to at lunch. This causes her to sneeze, leaving an odd ooze with leaves in her hand. The horrified woman rushes away to wash it off, only for a flower to come out of her mouth. Before she can process what's happening, she hears something in one of the cubicles. Hera looks and finds the tree man inside, so she bangs on the door angrily. However, Lori is the one inside the cubicle. This leads the team leader to scold the newbie, noting that she's been acting strange and didn't submit her documents in time. Hera makes up an excuse that she asked Zach for help, but Lori asserts that she either does the work on her own or she's out. The shaken woman calls her sister afterward, venting her frustrations, though she doesn't specify anything. Demi reminds her that bad things always happen, so they must focus on one thing at a time. This uplifts her sister momentarily, though she's still in tears after she hangs up. After work, Hera heads out with her flower pot and asks Vicky to help her open the door. However, the woman ignores her and just mentions that she's about to meet Zach. Later, Hera struggles to study and starts feeling lonely, so she begins talking to the flower. She jokingly offers food to it, but when she digs into the soil, she finds an eyeball underneath. When she looks again, it's gone. When she sleeps, the tree man suddenly gets on top of her. Hera snaps out of it when Zach calls her again at such a late hour. The next day at work, she approaches the office's celebratory bell, and Claire immediately announces that the newbie got a new account. With everyone looking, Hera clarifies that she was just looking at the bell, prompting Claire to say that she looks like a fool. Hera then meets with Lori, who scolds her for her tardiness yet commends her for doing all the work for their project. Still, the woman comments on Hera's drab appearance, making her think that she's sick. Lori continues that if Hera can maintain her performance, the company can put her in CFA training, which Gabe recommended her for. This surprises Hera, so she meets with Gabe afterward, wondering why he recommended her. The boss implies that Zach showed him her work, though Hera realizes this means something else. Gabe mentions that he knows things didn't work out for her and Zach, prompting the confused woman to wonder if she should raise things with HR. He advises her against this since HR protects the company. Therefore, they'll side with their top earner over a junior analyst like her. He clarifies that he recommended her for the training because he thought she needed the help. Speechless, Hera just thanks him before leaving. When Hera gets to her desk, she finds that Vicky left her a note on her flower pot, inviting her to chat. Pissed, Hera rushes to the woman, only to see the same plant on her desk. The conniving woman reveals that she bought it for $12, implying that this is how much Zack thinks of her. Vicky then invites her to lunch with her and Zack, but adds that she's actually going to eat while Hera will be doing something else. Knowing what she's implying, Hera pulls her hair but lets go immediately. Still, Vicky starts shouting to everyone that the woman just attacked her. She then threatens to sue, but this triggers Hera into sneezing again. The substance spills on Vicky, who cries in disgust. Later at home, Hera cries as pollen spreads. Driven to the brink, she sneaks into the office wearing Zack's jacket and mixes salt in Vicky's plant. She then rings the bell with crazed gleefulness. Soon, the tree man finds her asleep on her desk, so he starts shaking the partitions. When Hera wakes up, it's already morning, and Lori scolds her for sleeping on her desk and still dressing like she's sick. Just then, Vicky arrives, wearing a fake neck brace and accusing the woman of killing her plant. She threatens to tear Hera's plant as revenge, so the woman stabs her leg with a pen. As the woman screams in pain, everyone gathers around except for Zack, who retreats to his office upon seeing the events. That afternoon, Gabe finds Hera sitting at the curb. He sympathizes with her, agreeing that Vicky is horrible, especially since she started sleeping with Zack. He adds that the man buys those same flower pots for every woman he sleeps with. Suddenly, Gabe offers to refer her to other firms, adding that she is a talented analyst. This makes Hera smile, but it melts away when he invites her to dinner to discuss. When she doesn't respond, he offers her money and hooks his finger into her pocket. In tears, Hera orders him not to touch her before storming off. At home, the woman has a panic attack, asking her flower pot what she's supposed to do now. Crazed, she declares that she's not afraid of the flower before pulling grass from the lawn outside. She then puts them in a blender before pouring the juices over the pot, all while crying. After she's calmed down that night, Hera finds the flowers by her bedroom door, so she picks them up and takes them inside. The following day, the woman lies on the grass outside and starts pulling out the plants. Soon she takes bags of soil and dumps them into the bathtub, mixing them with water before getting in. The house remains quiet over the next few days, worrying her sister. Demi eventually visits her sister and finds Hera on the lawn, covered in mud and pretending to be a plant. Pissed, Demi hoses her down. Later, her sister scolds her for not calling her, adding that she just learned that Hera got fired for stabbing someone. Hera excuses that Vicky attacked her plant, making Demi think she's gone mad. As her older sister berates Hera, Corey approaches the flower pot. Soon, they hear something break, so Hera races to her pot, finding it shattered on the floor. Corey tells her aunt that he told her to do it, but the woman still strikes her before trying to revive her plant. Demi takes her daughter away while Hera mourns, begging the tree man to help her plant. The next day, Hera breaks into the office, screaming for Zack. Seeing her freaks Vicky out, but the woman just demands to know where Zack is. Vicky claims he hasn't been talking to her while Lori comes between them. The distressed woman begs for Zack, adding that she'd do whatever he wants to save their plant. Still, Lori threatens her to leave. Later, Demi picks her sister up from the curb. Hera apologizes for hitting Corey and finally confesses that she didn't want to sleep with Zack, but he persisted. She fixated on the plant to convince herself that nothing bad happened to her. As her sister comforts her, Hera asks to go home, promising that she won't do anything. After arriving home, Hera buries her dead plant in the yard. Despite this, the tree man continues haunting her, so she accepts living with it for now. Unable to sleep, she goes to the bathroom, where she left the broken pieces of the flower pot. She takes one and aims to use it to end her pain. Fortunately, the doorbell rings, stopping her. Hera pockets the broken piece before checking the door, surprised to find a drunk Zack at her doorstep. He lets himself in and offers to talk about them, but Hera orders him to leave. The man chuckles, commenting how she'd been crying out for him, but now she won't even look at him. He then offers to write her a recommendation letter as long as she never tells anyone that they hooked up. Zack starts touching her, refusing to acknowledge that she's trying to escape. He pulls her into a kiss, so Hera pushes him off. Finally, she lashes out about how he forced her on the night of their date. He denies this, but Hera continues that what he did to her ruined her career. When she doesn't stop, he calls her crazy and a tramp who's trying to sleep her way up the corporate ladder. Furious, Hera stabs him with a broken piece. Seeing him bleed out and begging for his life, Hera smiles. However, he still offers her a better job to let him off the hook, angering her into stepping on his head. Soon, she buries his body in the yard, finally getting closure from what happened to her. The next day, Demi and Corey visit Hera. The girl shows her drawings of flowers as her way to apologize for breaking her pot. Hera assures her that it's okay to want something beautiful but insists that they must always ask for permission. Afterward, Hera shows her how the flower she buried in the yard grew again. The tree man is also there, but Hera is no longer afraid of him as she has already buried the real monster in her yard.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.